It's often called a hard problem in science. We don't know. So it's a good question whether you can build, let's say you want to build a self-replicating machine, which is what you're talking about, and something that can go and maybe go to the moon or Mars and replicate itself and then carry on, which is a living thing, I suppose.
Yes.
Does it have to have a sufficient level of intelligence that it actually is conscious? And all these things that we talked about, this word meaning that we used earlier, that we all understand but can't define, is that a emergent property that has to emerge if you've got something that's intelligent enough to replicate itself and live and, as you said, be the... I don't know the answer, but it's worth considering that this thing, this emotion, meaning, love and fear and all those things, are just the things that happen when you are intelligent.
Right.
I don't know the answer to that, but it could possibly be.
And does consciousness have to have a local origin? Like, does it have to come from a thing? Like, if you think about cellular communication, if you send me here in England, and you send me a video from your phone and it reaches my phone, it's getting through space. It's going through the sky. It's like literally from a device not connected to any wires or anything. It's coming to me. If there's a possibility to create some sort of global intelligence through electronics that's non-local, if one piece of it falls off, the same, it just repairs itself or figures itself out. It's the same consciousness existing on a global scale through some sort of an electronic network. That instead of the idea that you and I have, that Brian and Joe, you have your mind, I have my mind, and we exist as intelligent beings separate from each other. But instead of that all of it is connected. All of it is something that we can't even conceive of because our brains are too crude. Like trying to explain to, Australopithecus what a satellite is.
Yeah.
Sticky grenade!
Yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, if you think about our brains, they are. They're just a distributed network of cells connected by neurons. And, I mean, they're very complicated, but they are a colony of things that are autonomous in a sense and are communicating with each other. So yeah, I don't see why you can't scale that up in principle. I mean, I should just say, the caveat is always that we don't know about this.
Yeah.
It's just not understood.
Well, I think there's something weird happening.
It's physical, though. I'm damn sure it's physical. I'm damn sure that there's nothing going on in my head other than what is allowed by the laws of nature as we understand them.
So eliminating woo, you mean? The idea of a soul being some sort of divine thing that's inside the housing of the body.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I've argued in the I've argued we can rule that out in the following manner. So here's my arm, right? So it's made of electrons and protons. And if I have a soul in there, something that we don't understand, but it's a different kind of energy or whatever it is that we don't have in physics at the moment, it interacts with matter because I'm moving around it. So whatever it is, it's something that interacts very strongly with matter. But if you look at the history of particle physics in particular, which is the study, we spent decades making high precision measurements of how matter behaves and interacts. And we look, for example, for a fifth force of nature. There are 4 forces: the gravity, the 2 nuclear forces called the weak and strong nuclear forces, and electromagnetism. And we look with ultra high precision. We don't see any evidence of it. So I would claim that we know how matter interacts at these energies, the room temperature now. These energies, we know how matter interacts very precisely. And so if we want to suggest there's something else that interacts with matter strongly, then I would say that it's ruled out. I would go as far as to say it is ruled out by experiment. Or at least it is extremely subtle. And you would have to jump through a lot of hoops to come up with a theory of some stuff that we wouldn't have seen when we've observed how matter interacts, that is present in our bodies. And presumably if you believe in the soul, you want it to exist outside when you die, you still want the thing to be there, and you might believe in ghosts and things like that. I mean, look at a ghost, I mean, it is something that carries the imprint of you. It looks like you. So that means that it interacts strongly with the matter that is you, because it carries a pattern. If it carries a pattern, it carries information. If it carries information, there has to be an energy source that allows that information to persist, and the pattern to persist, and so on. So again, you end up with a theory that is postulating something, interacts with light. Because if you think a ghost is the soul, then it's something that people see sometimes. So that means it interacts with light. But we know how light interacts. And we ruled out anything but the most subtle further interaction that we haven't seen. So I claim, and I started off as a joke, this actually. I wrote it in an Infinite Monkey Cage book, this radio show that I do. But it ended up, when I'd written down, I thought, actually, that it makes sense. And I read something similar, actually. I think Sean Carroll, I don't know if you've had Sean yet.
Several times.
He's said something the same. I think in the book that he wrote, The Big Picture, I think he has a similar argument, actually. So it's occurred to him as well.
So if you, so this energy that's interacting with matter, even if you're not moving at all, if you're just thinking, it's interacting with the matter that encompasses your mind or your brain or your nerves, your neurons, it's something in there that's interacting with matter, whether you like it or not. So even just a simple thought process or a dream is still something that's interacting with matter.
Yeah. Well, obviously, because it's your will, isn't it? In that sense.
Yes.
So when you move, it's presumably
moving. But even if you're not moving, the idea, like you're saying, your body's interacting with matter as you're moving your arm. But even if you're not moving, if you're just thinking and you're completely still, which is not totally possible because you're breathing and all that stuff. But if somehow or another you were able to isolate just the thoughts themselves are still interacting with matter because they're interacting with the brain itself.
Yeah.
So there's something in there.
Yeah, there's something that interacts with the physical structure of your body. And I would say there isn't. So that's
the woo-woo version is the brain itself and the body, the physical, the spiritual self. You are merely an antenna that's tuning into the great consciousness of the universe.
But why? But then you have to answer what we know what we are made of.
Yeah.
So we know how those particles behave and interact. So why do the particles in any way interact with that stuff? Because we interact. We don't. If that's true, we don't only just interact with it. We interact extremely strongly with it. We're interacting with it now.
Yeah.
Every movement I make, the interaction between that and matter in that. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, everything. If I move my fingers around, everything that I'm doing is an interaction between that stuff and me. So it's a very strong interaction with matter, but we don't see it in all our precision measurements. Well, the answer is because it's not there.
The answer is Jesus, and you can't measure God.
That may be an answer, but the point is, as we talked about earlier with absolute space, if you can't measure it, it's not there.
Right. But for whatever reason, for people, there is some incredible motivation to find a divine something or another. That's something greater than this physical being. There's something. What do you think that is? Like, what is that compulsion?
We've already sort of talked a bit about it. I think it goes to the heart of this question of what it means to be human. So I would say